For any other doubt, you may ask at the end of the session. Thank you and have a great session.
Thank you, Shruti. Uh, so good evening, everyone. So I hope you can hear me and see me. Just a quick thumbs up, just to confirm that you guys can hear me and see me before we start. Great, thank you. Uh, Thank you, Nishita. Great. So guys, so we'll just start in a minute. Let me just share my screen. That's the second confirmation I would need once I start my screen. So I hope you guys can see my screen, the opening slide or the first slide of the presentation. Just choosing a second device. Yeah, thank you. So, so yes, good evening, everyone. So I don't know, some of you might be already aware of me. Some of you might have not seen me earlier. So this could be the first time. So welcome to everyone. So today's session is going to be a 45 minute session where we're going to discuss about the topic, about the courses that you typically can choose for your masters that can lead to a good career opportunities post your graduation. Though the topic is focusing on the high paying job spot, I would also say that we are going to also talk about the course structures, what are the skills that are typically seen and stuff like that. Right. So just before I start, it'll be good if I can just get an heads up in terms of the countries that you guys are looking to go for. A quick check for me to see the type of preferences that I have with the audience. In the chat, you can just drop. Okay, Canada is the first one. UK, Canada, US. Okay, America, Shivam. Okay, Australia, UK. Okay, Australia or New Zealand. Okay, Shivam. Maybe three, four more answers, and then we'll just start with it. Just for me to get the thing, I got almost five, six answers. Maybe three, four more, and explore more affordable countries. Okay, Praveen. So, I mean, what I would suggest is you can also talk to, our experts. You can just book a free call, as what Smriti was showing. That will help you to really, get your doubts clear and understand more affordable countries and what is the, option of getting a loan, scholarship, and all, so that you can plan accordingly. Great. So I guess we got a good mix. Also seeing Germany also great. Uh, Great. So just a brief introduction. So I am Jaydeep, one of the founders of Ubergrad. So I also have Mr. Ravindra, who is also one of the co-founders of Ubergrad. Both of us come from BITS and IIM background. So we are working on a data-driven product approach to help students to go abroad, the study abroad journey. So we have a lot of features that in terms of test preparation, university shortlisting, applications, and visa support and all. So if you are not aware, you can, explore our website a little bit to use the features that we're rolling out. So yeah, as saying, we help with the test preparation, application, shortlisting, also SOP, LOR, drafting, personalized, drafting, stuff like that. Application fee waivers, since we have a lot of partnerships, so universities would let you apply for free. Financial support in terms of loans and scholarship, we have partnered with 15 plus banks and NBFCs. So we actually recommend students to do a assessment of their financial feasibility right at the start, so they can not stop their dreams at a critical step due to the lack of funds. Also, we help with the visa process and stuff like that. Right, our experience, and we have helped a lot of students over years. So let's get into the session. So exactly, the topics we're going to talk about is what course should you typically choose for your master specialization. So there's no fixed answer. Obviously, the agenda of the session for the next 30-40 minutes I'm going to talk about would be considering the broader set of audience I have. So you might have questions specific to you. So some of them you can obviously post in the chat and I would be happy to answer. And obviously, the best way to clear further, if you still feel like, getting a one-on-one conversation, obviously the best option is to go to our website and book a call, either profile evaluation or talk to a counselor, either of it, at your own convenience slot, and get all your doubts cleared and stuff like that. uh, so what course should I choose is one that's going to talk about. Then we're going to get into the critical steps like computer science and IT analytics, the data analytics, business analytics, the management. then core engineering, and then healthcare sectors and stuff like that. And then, as I said, I'll keep the Q&A open. So, Praveen, I don't know what exactly you meant by passport, but if you're saying that would we be helping you with the passport, so no, we can help you with a guide on how to go through the process. It's pretty much evidently available, but it's simple to do. You can just follow the process that we can guide, but we don't do help with the the passport process as such. Great. So the first topic that I'm going to talk about in choosing the course. So this is a little bit of philosophy that I would really like to talk about. This I really like as such. What I really look towards whenever I have a dilemma in my own life, or whenever I had at a critical juncture. So I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it. It is a Japanese concept called ikigai. There's also a book, which is a good book that you can read if you like to read books. So typically, I'll just summarize it. So there are four circles, as you can see. Uh, like talking about what you're good at is one aspect. Let's say when I'm choosing a career, how should I choose what is the best option for me? Right? That's a typical question a student would have. So I'm saying you can choose based on four parameters. Obviously, what you're good at. So I am good at certain skill set, and this course is gonna utilize that skill set. That's one aspect. The second part is what you can be paid for. Let's say I'm a great artist as such, I can really, or maybe otherwise I can do some weird stuff and I'm really great at it. Maybe I can run for 1 lakh kilometers without a break, just for example. So, but then is there anyone who is really willing to pay you for that? So that's the other parameter that you have to choose for. Even though you are very skillful in something, is there demand for it to really get you a good salary? Then what the world needs, obviously that has a correlation with what you can be paid for. Obviously, if the world demands for something, then that is what the skills that would typically pay you. And then what you love to do. Sometimes it could be that you have a skill set and there's willingness to pay you salary for money for it, but then you don't really love to do it. So it is doable to an extent. Beyond a point, it starts to really hit you hard, in the long career path. So better if you have a choice to choose your master specialization, choose from all four of them. Not just because someone told you that IT is very good and you'll get a great job, the people are willing to pay for it and the world needs it. If you don't like it, or if you don't have good skill set in it, maybe it's not the best choice, right? It's hard to just judge just from a simple slide I'm talking about. So at least explore, understand, and then take a call, because this is something that you don't do masters again and again. You might have done something in your bachelor's, and if you want to change your stream, then make sure that you are not getting it wrong this time. Or if you've already done something in your bachelor's and you're very happy and confident about it, then choose the continuation in that relevant substream of it, so that you can really master something and then get into it. So we'll just get into this. So the agenda is not only to talk about the salary part, so that's a small part of it, but typically we keep getting these questions. Can I do this course? Can I do this masters? So the common misconception, or rather a point I would want you all to think about if you are sitting in the session, at least the key takeaway I want you to take out of this, is that this entire students set that I see from India typically have this conception already given to them that the IT and analytics is the thing. If you want to settle abroad, you have to get into either computer science or IT domain or analytics domain, more or less. Okay, so this is true to an extent, that what I'm trying to say, the jobs are big in number, the salaries are higher in number in general. Agreed with that. I'm not denying it. But then, as I told you, it is not the only factor. Maybe 20-25% lower salary, but you also have to understand if you're doing B pharmacy, or you have done, let's say, some chemistry, BSc chemistry. Now, just shifting into computer science is not easy. Just because someone told you or someone is pushing you that, hey, go for it, you have to at least understand what you're transitioning into. Plus, make sure you look at the course curriculum. Make sure you look at the skill set that you own right now. Maybe spend few months at least doing some online course. Even if you are looking to go for fall 24, parallelly along with your own entire application process, start doing some online courses, explore programming. Just an example I'm talking about. So what I'm trying to talk about, Varshit, for the pharmacy related, I'm going to talk in healthcare. So I'm going to come there. Just be patient. Even if the end, if I don't really get to some specialization, just ask me. I'll try to add what I can. Right. So my key point that I'm trying to tell you, for example, I've seen students who for US going from civil engineering to cyber security. This is a too much of a transition. Okay. Yes, you are trying to go from civil to IT. That I understand. Maybe look software engineering, maybe look at IT, information technology, or look at MIS, information systems, or technology management. This is a much more easier transition, and maybe try to do some courses to make it easy for you to also explore and sort of get into a good career opportunity. Also the visa thing, a lot of university, I mean the US visa embassy, at least I'm talking about US specifically, that they really question you the transition that you're trying to do. So you have to justify it. So just don't blindly take someone's word and do it. I'm not saying you cannot do it. I'm saying do it with more knowledge, more confidence, and more awareness. That's my sincere request. Don't be too lazy or too careless or too scared to really figure out things. It is not that hard. Trust me, you will figure out. It's not really a problem to figure out things. You have a lot of sources to figure out. Just you have to put an extra effort, and it is worth it. Just trust me on that part. So I'll try to give some hints of what course curriculums are, what kind of roles you get and stuff like that in this session. Maybe that could add a little bit of starting point for you if you're not aware, to just continue your exposure from here. So this is typical IT domain I'm talking about. So you can get into a software developer role, you can get into information security analyst. So this is more at the security level, cyber security. IT manager, again, being a team lead. I know it's not easy for everyone to get out of college like that, but it's a journey that you can get there. Web developer, front end, back end, full stack developer. Some of you might be doing some coursework also right now for your skill development. Data science, data scientist, into that AI/ML sort of a thing where you'll start exploring the artificial intelligence, machine learning, and stuff like that. So typically, if you see the USA, I'll say undoubtedly, undisputedly pays you the highest. Okay, an average. These figures are all average figures. So I'm not saying everyone will get this much or the highest. I'm not talking about it. A typical and average starting salary. It depends on the city, state. California jobs pays you much higher than Texas, for example. London jobs pays you much higher than Manchester, for example. So it's all because of the cost of living and stuff like that. So if you look at it, my basic rule of thumb that I tell students is, if your goal is to earn the highest possible salary, USA is the place. The best jobs and the highest paying salary always comes with US. There's no doubt about it. I'm talking on average. I'm not saying people earn much higher in Ireland or Canada or Germany for a specific role. I'm not denying it. On average, USA has more potential to give you high paying jobs. But also have to understand, not everyone can get there. The competition is high. It is not easy. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort and time that you have to put a 2 3 year of effort to really go through again a fake experience, fake interviews, do a lot of painful journeys to really reach a stable state, which is relatively easier. Like you might not get H1B picked. The green card is a very long journey, whereas PR is much easier, or used to be much easier for Canada, still relatively easier. Australia has relatively easier. So Ireland obviously is easier. Germany is easier. So again, people have to choose what is it that they want to choose. But on average, you are getting a 60 to 1 crore or 60 lakhs to 1 crore sort of a job in IT. That's obviously the highest you will see in US. Then Canada, which is at a 40 50 lakhs. UK also goes along with Canada. Australia also slightly at that 55 60, and Ireland also gets you the same. So it's the same salaries, and expenses also don't vary a lot in terms of these countries, except the taxes vary, right? Ireland is a little bit favorable for the personal taxation or in general corporate taxation compared to US or let's say Canada, UK. So those are minor changes, but this is typically a good paying job compared to like what I'm talking about, getting a 12 to 15 lakh salary in India is equivalent to earning a 70 60 lakh in US, or 40 50 lakhs in Ireland or Australia or UK, right? So IT jobs, you have different roles that you can get into. What are the courses that you can choose? So this is per annum, Monu Parasha. So obviously this is per annum. Per month, if you can make this much, I think it's at a different scale altogether. So this is per annum. Again, some people can question that this much the Indians are also making in IT world here in product company. So I'm not denying that. If you work for Flipkart or Microsoft in India, a fresher is making 30 35 lakh CTC. So that's obviously, if the same skilled guy is going to US, that's how you hear that 1 crore, 1.5 crore in Google's Microsoft in US. Right? That's the equivalent salary that they would make over there. This is an average figure. So if you are making a 10 lakhs, 8 lakhs sort of a salary here, so that is equivalent to what I'm talking about in these particular countries. So what I want to get more deeper into is this. So these are the specializations in IT domain, right? The computer science masters, software engineering, data science, and IT. So I just want to clear, certain differences here. Like some of you who are from computer science background really can understand it, but just for people who are not coming from it, I still see that what they call it, little bit of lack of awareness or exposure where people don't find the difference in it. So I just wanted to stress on it. So I'll just open this, just some universities curriculum just broadly. Um, just give me a second. So this is from University of Arizona, one of the top 100, 110 ranked university in US, for example. So if you see the computer science, right, a lot of top universities especially would expect in your requirements, you should have done your basic computer courses. What I mean by that would be obviously every engineer would do mathematics of calculus, probability, stats, and stuff like that. But talking about data structures and algorithms, right, theory of computation, and this stuff is something that compilers and operating systems. This is something a lot of non-CS guys would not do. Maybe a little bit of EC triple E might get exposure based on which university and curriculum you are doing in India, but most of the people would really find it hard to justify these sort of it. The core computer science subjects that you do in your masters would also something extending what you're doing here. I can't find it here. Just give me a second. I don't know if it's there here. But typically, you would see something on these lines only where you'll have electives. The fundamental courses stays the same. The basic programming languages, data structures, and algorithms, operating systems, and all. The electives, that is the optional subjects you choose, will get into either cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, machine learning, natural language processing, and stuff like that. Or you would do computer science in general. Some courses would also work on the web development side and stuff like that. So you have to go through the curriculum before you apply. That's a key criteria that I would want you people to do. Like if you are applying to certain university, make sure that you read through that curriculum. It's easy, just search for the university name and like masters in computer science, and say Google it, the course curriculum, the keyword. If you do it, you will find the link for that. So maybe I'll just put, this is for software engineering. Here you will see the requirements would be on the lower side. When you talk about software engineering, it is not as core a computer science subject as we are talking about here. Here you will have a little bit of leniency, as in a person coming from a, let's say, electrical background or mechanical background would still have a good chance, and this would not really stress too much on data structure algorithms are important for anyone for an IT job, more or less, as a developer, but they don't go too much into theory of computation. They don't go too much into operating systems and all the science behind how the computer machines work. So that part you can obviously, if you see the admission requirements, they are not mentioning any of that thing which was say written in the computer science requirement. So this is important that people don't need to really, if you want to get into IT, if you have a good skill set, maybe software engineering is as good as computer science. The only difference is whether you really want to learn the theory, the science behind how the machines work, and get into more deeper science of computers. That's when you have to do computer science. If your job is to be a web developer or just a front end developer, a full stack developer, IT guy, then I think you just have to understand here both of them would do 90-85% of the job for you. It's about your knowledge. So my point is, if you guys don't come from a core computer science, maybe try to explore these alternatives, because this is easier to crack into. The admission criteria is easy. It is easier for you to get an admit into a good university, and it is also easier for you to justify in your visa interviews or overall learning experience of why you're transitioning into it. Data science is, again, as I told you, it's gonna hardcore focus on your artificial intelligence, machine learning. The core subject stays the same. It is like a sub specialization of computer science to keep it more clear. You have to do data structures, algorithms, you should know operating systems and all, but the focus gets beyond the science of computers. Rather, you'll start focusing on the artificial intelligence, machine learning, the natural language processing techniques and all. Obviously, you must be knowing GPTs, and a lot of these the huge words. Gemini was recently launched by Google and stuff like that. So you can learn a lot more on how the generative AI works, or in general how the artificial intelligence and machine learning is evolving. Code, develop the models, supervise, unsupervised, a lot more stuff that you can work on in terms of development. But this is something that needs you to be very interested in mathematics and statistics also, to understand the data science and get into more deeper. It is a little bit also math heavy side of it, so you cannot just jump into it not knowing whether you really like math or not. Again, go through the curriculum. This is even more niche. I would not suggest someone, see, some universities call a master's in data science, but if you look at the curriculum, they don't really offer that. It is actually an alternative of data analytics. I'll show you the analytics curriculum, you'll understand the difference. The IT is again an easier one. So IT is similar to what I'm talking about, software engineering. So if you talk about what would you find in the course curriculum, I'll just show you for another university. I'm not sure which university it is. Okay, ASU. Great. Arizona State University. So see, if you see the degree requirements, right? This is an IT. You're talking about architecture, security, information systems, database management systems, information systems development. This is the core subjects everyone has to do. Then you get to do an open elective. I just choose from a list of topics that they would offer, right? And here, if you see, I'm not sure if they put it the electives here, but if you go through, do a little bit of research, you'll find that they are not as hard subjects as you're talking about a computer science. They again focus on software development part, right? So what I'm trying to say is that understand there's a difference between computer science, software engineering, data science, and IT at a very minute level. Based on what background you come from, you have to choose what is the best one for you to transition into it. Number one, the ease of getting admitted into a good university. Number two, and number three, that will also be easy for you, if, especially from US point of view, the visa justification also if you're going for it. So my general rule of thumb is if you come from a non-CS background, maybe at least ECE, EEE, the circuit branches can still try for computer science. If you understand the difference and you're okay, try for software engineering or IT, which is also development, coding only, but you won't really get into some irrelevant subjects that really won't get you a job, or it is not that relevant for you. It is much more easier for you to crack software engineering and get a good job after that also. So the next part is the analytics part. For that, I missed a question maybe. I've completed a bachelor's from BCom and I was looking for master's from UK, but I'm confused between should I go for MBA specialization or analytics. Okay, so for us, I'll get to that. Maybe I'll just run through the analytics and management. Maybe I'll take up that question later. Maybe to add a little bit of insight after what I'm discussing. So here, if you talk about the analytics part, again, analytics, what is this analytics? So here you will not really code a lot. Yes, you still have to understand if you're trying to get into analytics, you should be someone who is open to learn basic Python or R language. These are the fundamentally two in-demand programming languages. So if you are applying for analytics, the expectation from a university is that you should have basic exposure toward computer programming, which is almost every engineer or most of the science streams are teaching in India right now, C programming at least. Then also have the high level mathematics, right? Probability, statistics, get that hypothesis testing, P testing, T testing, which is what fundamentally first year of advanced mathematics in undergrad would have taught you. So the point is you should definitely be fairly good with these two in terms of your grades, in terms of your own interest, as I'm telling you about it. The job as a business analytics or data analyst or data analytics, maybe you should also be willing to learn SQL. You should be willing to learn Python, NumPy, Pandas, and all other frameworks on top of Python to work as an analyst and stuff. Here, you will not be developing the algorithms, you will not be coding extensively, but you will have a basic amount of coding. I will not scare you by saying you have to be expert in coding. That is data scientist. A lot of data scientists, proper data scientists, like a lot of job roles have a very confusing names, but proper data scientist is the one who is typically building the algorithms, whereas an analyst is more in the lines of using the data that is being collected by a company, work on the existing standard algorithms that are being accepted in industry and try to show an output for business purpose, business decisions purpose. So having an experience and having a business mindset, as in what I mean by business mindset, as in understanding how a business work, what are KPIs, key performance metrics, and all of that, it'll be easier for you to really understand the impact of analytics. So I have seen that universities typically like people with some experience in the job, for analytics especially. From any engineering background, it doesn't make a huge difference for data analytics or business analytics, even from other science streams. The more the subjects in terms of programming and mathematics you have done, or at least try to do in edX, Coursera, right? For everything, if you're trying to transition into something different which you have not done in your undergrad, at least try to get it through some certifications, right? That is how you will justify in your SOP, in your application package. That is how you justify in your visas. Even if you're applying for Canada, UK, or Australia, you have to show an intent from your SOP for the visa purpose. So it is good that you actually give a justification for it. Obviously, as I told you, the next in a similar level, the high paying jobs and the frequency of the availability is higher for analytics. Again, that whole world is building on data. Everyone must be hearing it. That is what even the Indian companies are trying to hire people for. Even the global level, it's the same phenomena we are observing. Being an analyst, business or data analyst, it's not much different. It's the same. You will have something similar in terms of salary. Maybe, as I told you, 70, 80 lakhs in US, and then 40 to 60 lakhs in the other countries. You're being paid well, as well as the number of opportunities are a lot. So this is another thing. Let's say you don't have any preference towards CS or analytics. You have done, let's say, B pharmacy, or you have done BCom. Then I would say try analytics. The only thing is the coding is easier over here than the computer science expectations. Mathematics is going to be challenging for sure. So you have to understand, if you're willing to put effort. Obviously, you're not expected to derive something or figure out something, but you have to be willing to, run through numbers and be open to, expose yourself to numbers. If not, my strong suggestion is, there are a lot of websites which are giving you free courses, edX, Coursera, and these courses are offered by universities. Maybe just for your reference, if some of you are not aware of it, they call it audit courses and all of that. You just go for Coursera, right? Business analytics. They also do charging like paid courses, but I'm talking about, you can obviously do a free course also where you don't get that, what do I call it? See, this is about the front end developers and all of that. Leaving that aside, you'll also like business intelligence analysts, which is again data analysis and all. So you can actually do these courses. Some of them are available for free. You just have to explore a little bit. edX is another website along with Coursera, and these are ideally offered by universities itself, right? Where you can also, if you're willing, you can also pay money to get a certificate also. It also adds a little bit of value to your, entire application. So this is helping you in two ways. One, build your profile. Don't, if by chance, if you're without a job and you're looking to go for fall 24, let's say you've already graduated, my strong suggestion is, don't have a huge gap for a year. Rather try to work upon some internship, or at least work upon some of these online courses to justify the gap. Number one. Number two, this is an opportunity for you to explore, and then it justifies whether you're liking it or not. No point in someone said, because I'm telling you analytics has huge demand, you've started learning, I mean, you've just applied blindly, you're going to US or UK, and then you've realized it is not your cup of tea, right? I've seen people who have done cyber security, something else which is more advanced, deeper areas. They just applied because the admission is easier. Then they are not liking it. Now they want to change their specialization. It's, waste of time, waste of money. Otherwise, you might complete the degree, but then again, you find it hard to get a job because you are not fit for that particular skill. So don't make these mistakes. Spending additional time and putting an effort to figuring out things, because it's your life, it's your career. No consultant or no expert would be, be as aware as you about your own career. So make sure you are exposing yourself and take a call, not just because your uncle said, or your father said, or your consultant said, or someone else said, or I am saying for that matter. So this analytics, if you see the curriculum, right, I'll just show you the curriculum. As I was telling you, this would focus more on introduction to basic programming. It will focus on, statistics and probability. I don't find where curriculum is. So this is a little bit interesting. So maybe let me do one thing. I'll just do like MS in business analytics. Let's say University of North Texas course. So I did the mistake over here, but okay. Using a very bad browser. Just give me a second. Getting some of question. Okay. Yeah, Sarang, I'll also talk about the masters in management. I'll come there. Just give me a second. So this is about the career roles you will get after that. That's all fine. Huh. So you see, this is the master course you could take, right? So predictive analytics and business forecasting. This is an elective they're offering you. They're also showing artificial intelligence, but I can tell you, I'm not even reading in depth, but I can tell you confidently that this would be not as advanced or as challenging as doing AI in data science of computer science. This will be using the artificial intelligence systems, right? Data visualization, using the data and building the graphs and all of that to show a summary of it. Then again, model-based business intelligence. So the courses that you will be expected to read would be basic programming, obviously probability and statistics, and then you would be expected to do electives on what further challenges, data visualization, right? You will not learn the operating systems. You will not get into, you might have basic data structures and algorithms, that's fundamental, but you see statistics, then you'll have data engineering principles and stuff, which is relatively, I would say, easier to do for people who do not want to get to core coding, but also should have some interest to at least figure out mathematics and probability statistics, not to be completely shy away from it. But as I told you, what Faraz was saying, the difference you will see if you do courses is MBA and business analytics. The role over there is more put up, the stress in the course would be more put up on helping you to build some, what do you call it, decision making ability. Like how do you take a decision from the data? That is what the stress would be on it. Whereas if you are doing a proper analytics course, the difference would be in this, they would try to make you an expert in building the data visualization, or make you an expert in using the data to create a summary, some do some tests, use some models and come to some output. Now who will read the output and who will take the decision would be taught a little bit more in terms of the MBA business analytics. Again, just don't blindly fall for the names. I'm talking in general. You have to go through the curriculum and see what is that courses they are offering, and you'll understand. So one is to be an analyst who would use the data and throw output, then your role ends there. The other person is the one who would read the output and make a decision out of it. So both of them should have some sense of data to be able to read it, but the roles are different. Either you become this or that, depends on what fits you better, what is more. So business experience and interest towards business would help the second one, whereas being more an engineer mindset or individual contributor, mathematics, statistics and coding, that guy would work from the initial one. In terms of the management, you have the MIS, information systems manager. We have marketing, engineering management. This is an interesting course that you can try out if you're someone coming from an engineering background, wants to do management, but you don't think MBA is a good fit for you, because a lot of universities expect you have experience. Some people see that GMAT is a requirement or GR is a requirement. So MBA versus engineering management, there is a difference. Again, so I'll talk about that. Construction managers, finance managers, supply chain, HR. So obviously the MIS is again being an IT domain. You work with information technology domain, like ERP systems and stuff like that. You don't have to code. This is where you are being a manager who actually uses technology to make things easier in a company. So here your job is to work with the developers. You will not be developer, but you will work with developers and you will try to get the features, right? You will try to do project management. Okay, I have 5 developers, I need to get a feature out, so how do I plan it? So this is partly what information systems manager, or typically the MIS degree, would help you. So someone who has interest in IT but do not want to even touch one line of code, they have to look at this MIS, and it is relatively easier to crack through in terms of admissions. And it is easier to justify also, even if you don't have any coding experience in your undergrad and stuff like that, compared to IT or software engineering and stuff like that. So you'll be paid well, equally well, as a developer and all. But here you should have a good communication skills. You should be someone who is willing to look at the business side of it with the technology as an enhancer. You have marketing, finance. Again, if you are a good finance guy, you'll get paid very well. Marketing, typically marketing is also paid well, but my challenge for international students would be that it's hard to compete with a domestic candidate for a marketing role. Sales and marketing in general, they would prefer locals unless you have very good skill set. If your personal choice is that, I would avoid it. If you ask me, just as a basic point, if you have a strong preference, it's worth taking the effort. But if you're open to anything, maybe don't prefer marketing. So talking about this information systems, right, I'll just show you the curriculum here. Hopefully I might have something to show better. So if you see this MS in computer information systems, you see the courses, right? See project management, as I was telling you, how do you manage a particular project? Then application software infrastructure, how is the software handled? That here you're not doing any coding. Yes, you should know a little bit of database. Maybe you'll also be taught a little bit of SQL also, which is a good skill to have even as an IT manager. But if you see all of this, it's not object-oriented programming. It's again how object-oriented systems are built. So all of this, a little bit of data also, you'll see data, business intelligence, data visualization. This course curriculum has it. So here you would have to have almost zero coding, or as I told you, very minimal coding. And you can obviously choose the courses, then you can avoid if you don't want to even code. But basic rule of thumb, having a little bit of exposure towards coding always help you to understand the IT domain better. But this is a very good course for someone who wants to be in IT. Like I did other BCom, B Pharmacy, BSc and all, but I want to get into IT. Maybe this is much easier to get in terms of admission, much easier to also learn and get into the IT domain. It's better than just blindly jumping into CS. Just go through it and take a call. I mean, everyone can do whatever they want, just giving a general heads up. Then if you look at engineering management, so this is again a project management. So for engineering management, the typical rule is this. I mean, what I mean by what is the meaning of engineering management? You are a manager working in an engineering section. Like MIS, I was telling you that you will work with IT developers, whereas engineering management teaches you to work in factories, manufacturing setups, or maybe as a product manager also in companies also. There's a small overlap of MIS and engineering management. But if you see, they teach you something similar in MBA, accounting, right? Project management, you will have HR also, human resource also. If you see it, you'll also be learning supply chain, project control, cost estimate. This is like a project management course also, right? You have to go through the course curriculum and understand what is being offered. But this is something, again, not your core engineering, but the idea is that you would be a manager working with the engineers to get a particular output done, right? And there will be a common correlations, like for example, if you see the construction management, right? So this is what typically you come from a civil engineering background, work in a civil engineering site, and you will be still doing something exactly similar. What I mean by that, you would also be doing project management, estimations, cost estimations, and stuff like that. See, budget and estimating, managing stakeholders, project life cycle, project planning, scheduling. So this is something like engineering management, but it is specifically for people who come from civil background to work in construction domain. Supply chain management is also a good career option for people who wants to do into management, which is again, looking at logistics, how things are moved in the, what do I call move, as in how things are carried from place A to place B. So this is again something to do with project management, operating, like operations, and optimization, supply chains and stuff. So mechanical engineers, chemical engineers, civil engineers have a good correlation with it. If you don't want to do engineering but want to do management, it is easier to get into these than MBA. MBA needs a little bit of experience in a lot of universities, slightly higher criteria in terms of English exam scores and all. These are something you can explore. If you look at the curriculums, they have a strong correlation. Also, you can do masters in management, as what one of you were asking me. So masters in management is more a culture of Europe than US, to be frank. So MBA in USA is seen as someone with experience, they do it, whereas in UK they treat masters in management is for freshers, typically people who come from a bachelor's in business degree trying to do masters in management. So again, if you see the curriculum, you will do accounting, marketing, HR, then you will choose a specialization, which is basically supply chain or project management or information systems, or maybe it could be about uh, finance and stuff like that, based on what you like. Analytics also in a way. So the courses are more fitting for people with BBA. They would have straight correlation with this. Even engineers, they can explore engineering management and construction. If you see the job salaries are not bad, you'll be paid fairly fine. Like, or maybe as not as high as an IT or analytics, but they are not as bad as what you should avoid them or something of that sort. So fairly paid well. You can definitely try. So someone trying from civil engineering to computer science, I'm saying if you don't like coding, just don't jump into it. There are a lot more opportunities you can explore like this, where engineering management, construction management, where there's a strong correlation with what you did, and it's easier for you to transition into, and maybe your skill set fits over there. Communicating with people, planning things, and looking at the business side could be something that excites you. So you can try this. The core engineering, obviously, that's obviously a choice as well. People might like to continue their bachelor's and then continue their master's also into it: electrical, mechanical, civil, chemical. They're paid fine. Like as I told you, not as high as computer science, around 60 lakhs, 65 lakhs, maybe 15, 20 lakhs less than the average of IT, but on par with engineering management, construction management, right? So opportunities are there. Obviously, the ratio you see in India, like the number of IT jobs to civil engineering jobs, is what you'll observe in US or UK, Canada also. It's almost on the similar lines. Maybe Australia has a little bit more favor towards agriculture or food science and stuff. There's shortage of certain skill set in certain domains. Like USA always has high paying for pharmacy, right? Nursing is something that is preferred in Canada, nurses and stuff like that. So there are obviously certain skill sets that are more, what do I call it, preferred in those countries because lack of skilled people working over there. But in general, the rule stays the same. But it is a choice that you really like to continue your bachelor's to master's. Then these jobs are also good opportunities that you can consider. Uh, the healthcare is the last section that I'm going to talk about. So this is for people who come from, a health section like pharmacy. Obviously, you can get into masters in pharmacy also, or you did biotechnology. Obviously, you can do bachelor's in biotechnology to masters in biotechnology.
But people from a health science, food science, maybe want to shift into something different. This is where you can get into health informatics. There's a little bit of data based role, or IT based role in the health domain. So this is for something people, which is a good transition to get into IT or data analytics focused from health, right? As in what I mean by B pharmacy, or BSc, nursing, life sciences, you did biologies and stuff like that. Healthcare administrator, these are not like core subjects. Obviously, you can do your masters also in the core, but these are alternatives that you can take where the opportunities are more in number, easier for you to get an opportunity. Pharmacist, as I told you, gets paid very well abroad. If you do masters in pharmacy also, it's a great opportunity to do in that. But the other alternative, if you don't want to continue your core subjects, would be to be like, you can be a public health administration. That is what healthcare administrator would be. You'll work in hospitals, you will work in public healthcare management of government bodies or private institutions, where they would try to work with the societies to make them more healthier, more safe from these diseases like COVID and all the spreads. So these are something you can, epidemiology, some subspecialization again you can do in public health. So a lot of demand, especially in UK, Canada. Public health is a lot in demand for international students to get apply for, and really look for a good job opportunities that you can get for. Or if you don't want to get there but rather want to try an IT side or data analytics side, healthcare informatics, health informatics, these are some domains that you can look at, which is a hybrid of your core science with applications of IT or data analytics. They're also paid well. Obviously, maybe if you look at it, not as high as software engineering, but what I'm trying to tell you is, as long as you're paid well and you have a good chance to get your job, and number three, you're really interested and your skill set fits there, that's what you should look for. Don't just blindly follow everyone. Everyone tries for IT, everyone tries for analytics. Even if your skill set doesn't lie it, you will really work hard and you will struggle to get a job once even by chance you crack into university and do your masters, you'll really figure it hard to really get your career started there. So sometimes don't really work with the group, maybe explore, figure out things on your own and do what's best for you. Right. So this is just the curriculum on public health and informatics. Uh, so I think that's it from my side. So what I'll do is I'll keep the session open for Q&A. As I said, I almost took 40 minutes, I think. So we can have another 5-10 minutes of Q&A, based on which, if your doubts are clear, if you have any doubts on the overall study abroad journey, right, I'd be happy to help you out here. If you think you need further discussion and you want more doubts to be cleared, or even later, after going, thinking through, discussing with people, you can always come to our website, book a call with our experts, and we'll be keep doing a lot more sessions. You can also attend them if you find value in them, and obviously you can get your doubts clear over there also. So I did my LLB this year. Please guide me with the options in the law field. So Monu Parashar, I would say you can obviously do LLM. That's obviously one good choice that a lot of people choose. And I would say from a LLB background in India, Indian system works very well in sync with UK. So that obviously you must be aware that a lot of your friends or seniors must also be doing. If you like to continue your learning, the easier path to do is to get into UK's masters in law. But some people would prefer to get into US, where the opportunities would also be attractive for them. So there you have to work hard to transition it. But I have seen a lot of students who have done, as in it is not super hard either. People go for top universities in USA for masters in law, where you can choose whether you want to be a corporate law, which is ideally what you should choose if you're going for a new international market. Obviously, corporate law, working in a corporate in a legal setup is much more, what do I call it, ideal way. And there's a huge respect for legal field in these developed nations, because the terms and the rules are much stricter. Companies pay a lot for these legal battles and all. So the corporate law is a good feature. Now, let's say you don't want to stick here. You want to really transition into a different domain. You feel that legal is not your cup of tea. Now, as I'm telling you, you can now look at, management side. So sort of your LLB would have taught some business courses. As far as I'm aware of the Indian education system that I have seen, they give you an exposure to it. Maybe you can explore, there are management specializations with specialization in legal, right? Businesses need people who understand law as well as business. So you can obviously search for those courses and try. There are quite a few in number, which is a good hybrid of, not that you have to be the lawyer or look at the legalities every time, but also have a basic sense where you work with the lawyers, but also understand the business side whenever a decision is being taken. So you can do the masters in management or business administration with The specialization being on the legal side, where it's a good hybrid you can pick up. Uh, Completed my MSc in physics. Next, what to do? Pawan, see, typically you did MSc, you can also do masters again in physics if you really want to do. PhD is an option if you're really excited to have a specific domain you're interested to do in. Let's say if you feel that it is not your cup of tea and you want a different alternative. Now, as I told you, information systems and all that would be a relatively easier thing, right? The management, see, the very basic rule I'll tell you, irrespective of what you've done in your bachelor's, if you really want to shift a domain, the easiest domain to look at is management domain. Okay, but the challenge is you have to give some justification when you are sitting for visa interview for US. I'm talking, or in general, to get into a decent university in any of these countries you're interested in. Okay, why do you think you will be interested, or what excites you to do for this? So the chance is that you have to do some certification, some internships if possible, to express that what excited you to do specialization in business. But easier transition would be to business, where business is not a very specific skill set. As long as you're someone who is more focused towards understanding business, believe how businesses work is very important for this world, then I think you'll have a great time doing. So whether you like analytics, then again you need some coding, little bit of coding, which is not super hard either. 3 to 6 months is good enough for you to build your basics. So the point is, people explore it, try for a month, maybe some view courses and all, see if it excites you. Or otherwise go for non-analytics, non-technical in management, which would be to do like supply chain, something of that line, or MIS, information systems again, which are obviously, it will be hard to crack. I'm not saying your profile from physics, but either you do again in physics or go for the management, which is something that you can try for. So suggest some good university for MIS with no work. See, Swarda, I think getting into MIS with no experience is not a challenge, but I would need to understand your profile more and country and what's your background. So typically, say the CG is 8 and above, and you come from IT or CS background, and you're interested to go for MIS to US, for example, you can try for Arizona State universities. You can try for UC Denver. You can try for University of Arizona. I was showing you there. Even you can be at ambitious and try for Case Western Reserve, the top 100 universities. Depends. What's your CG? What's your IELTS or TOEFL score? But there are quite a few good universities which have good IT departments which would offer MIS. MIS is a hybrid of IT and management. So you have just look at a good ranked university, and almost all the top universities are offering MIS. Either they call it information systems, they call it technology management. There was small difference in names, but if you just look at course curriculum, you understand what is that they're offering, and you can happily apply for it. But if you are more curious to understand your own profile, as I told you, book a call with our team. You just go to our website, you'll see a button, profile evaluation, or talk to counselor. You can get your doubts more cleared, get some university recommendations also for you. Which subject has best scope for pharmacy for MSc? So, Varshit, so to be very frank, I cannot get too deep into pharmacy subspecializations, right? Because that's not my, what do you call it, domain or exposure as such in general, right? I can talk about engineering, I can talk about management, I can talk about healthcare domain in general, which I've talked about. So if you talk about in pharmacy, is it like genetic related? Are you interested in, are you interested in toxicology? Right? Some people do a little bit of focus on that part. The sub streams are being offered by universities. uh, I'm not the right person, to be very frank, to give you in-depth knowledge on that. But I'm telling you, definitely pharmacy is a great domain to look at in abroad. If you're really interested in, either you want to do toxicology, you want to get into more, pharmacy with technology as such, an hybrid you're interested in, or you're interested in genetics or something in that. I think there are quite a few streams that are offered by universities. If you're not sure of yourself in terms of concentration, what I can also tell you is there are a lot of universities which offer you pharmacy, masters in pharmacy, but you have to choose concentration after you join there. Like you do core subjects, then you have electives where you can choose, which is also a great way for you to choose what is good for you after you go there, talk to seniors, understand the domain, and get there more clarity on. Plus, I think in general, as I'm telling you, USA is the thing if you are without any constraint from academics, finances, and your ability wise. But other than that, I think business in general, I would look at UK next. Even Canada is paying, giving you good jobs. Australia is also doing great in terms of analytics. So world is filled with data jobs. Okay, analytics job is there everywhere. But UK has its reputation from management perspective. So analytics maybe could be a good option to look at UK also. But if you are looking at US, I would say look at US. If you are open to another country, maybe Ireland and UK is a good set you can look at. Australia is also a good set, but Australia has its own stricter criteria. The thing I'll tell you is you can get into better universities in UK or Australia over US for the same profile. But the problem with Australia is that it's gonna be more financially straining in terms of cost and the entire process of showing the proof of funds and all. So from the visa perspective, getting it. So easier option would be UK. But if you are open, Australia also is good. Canada is also fine. But in the recent years, in the cycles of people choosing Canada a lot, it's a little bit more filled with lot of Indians or international immigrants, which is making it hard compared to Australia or UK. Maybe a few years down the line, you'll again see a good cycle of Canada being again more and more job opportunities being available. As of today, the chances of getting jobs are the competition is high in Canada compared to UK or Australia. Uh, Pavan, I think I did answer on the MSc Physics part. Bachelor's in Mechanical, one to Master Engineering Management, according to which is having more job UK or Australia. Shubham, I think uh, as I'm telling you, Australia problem I'll tell you is that they were very restricting in terms of getting international students since COVID, because of which I see a cycle of lot of vacancies and part-time jobs for part-time jobs and also full-time jobs. So if you ask me Australia versus UK, I have for today, for this year, I'm talking about like coming 6 months, 12 months, maybe 3, 4 years down the line, the cycles keep changing. I think Australia has a little bit more ease of getting a job. They're giving 3 to 5 years. The proposal is to get back to three, but as of today, they have up to 5 years of post-study work visa, which also makes your PR purpose a little bit more easier to transition into that. So a lot of things considered, but the only challenge with Australia is you should have ITRs right at the application, at least admit time. So proper ITRs with parents, and also financially they have a little bit stricter conditions. Keeping that aside, just blindly going, UK and Australia both are equally good. But the jobs right now, I believe Australia has a little edge in terms of ease of getting jobs over UK. But otherwise, both of them are great options. But if you have to choose one, if I have to choose one in between these two, I have slight edge towards Australia, but the budget is a constraint. If I have a budget constraint, UK is the best option to look at for analytics or engineering management. So you're talking about both of them are good. I've no doubt about it. Australia, US would be my first preference, but if you're talking about these two countries, Australia has slight edge for me. If no other constraint is there for you. So Bhumika, I think you can actually Google it. So Australia has given a list of what they call it for post-study work visa. They have defined what they call it some elite subjects are what I call it domain specializations, which for which they are giving longer post-study work visas, which typically means that they are uh, in demand. Obviously, food science, the life science, engineering is always.
A skill
If you just
priority list.
Yeah, yeah. If you just go through it, you will find a lot more information on that. But I would just say that IT is IT everywhere. So this is what they've given. You see, this is like the demand rating. So you can go through this and you'll also understand in terms. If you want it right from the horse mouth, this is what the government is talking about. You'll find engineering, obviously, the nursing, the food science. Again, you have the web developer, right, analyst, software engineer, and all. You'll find it. So if you go through all of it, you will see the orders being given in terms of. So that's obviously they are letting people to come with easier constraints for the domains where they want more and more international people to come and work. That's basic rule, right? Every international country is not doing charity to anyone. All they're trying to do is to invite people for the domains where they have lack of skilled people in their home country. Now they want international people to come and fill it for their industries to grow. So that's simply how you can find out for any country what are the things in demand. At least I think diplomas, Canada is fine. So this is generic global business management. These are all very generic. So I'll always tell you if you can do more specific skill set it's always helpful for you. When I say specific, what I mean by that is analytics is more specific, defined skill set. Being just masters in management, where you are a generic skill set, as in you have done a very what do you call it, a very generic degree as such. You have learned basics of everything, where you will find it hard to define that you are the best guy over there. So my basic rule of thumb, if you have a skill set, like I am an engineer, I am a developer, I am an analyst, I am, as a finance guy who has hardcore fin knowledge, or I am a person with supply chain logistics, project management skill set. There are few skill sets which are easier to get, the opportunities compared to generic. Like if you say global business management, I would say unless you have the course curriculum where you can choose analytics or you can choose project management or something, supply chain logistics. For Canada, I would say if you can do analytics or supply chain or project management, logistics, supply chain, or project management, I think you will have good opportunity. If you do a very generic, maybe look at course curriculum and apply accordingly, where the colleges are giving you a very specific skill set that you think will be, easy for you to get a job. Analyst, yes, you can definitely do Pavan, you can definitely do analyst. Like I'm not saying physics to analytics is not hard, but as I'm telling you, make sure that you are, also be open for the mathematics, probability, statistics. From physics background, I think it shouldn't be a hard thing, but be okay to learn basics of coding. That is also important thing to do. And that is a lot of people do it. So analytics is, I think, something a lot of students are transitioning into it. There's a huge dearth of, skilled people. So a lot of universities and countries are open for it. But my only request for everyone from the entire session is, if you are looking to go into IT or analytics just because everyone is saying that is in demand, which is true, try to test a little bit of basics so that you are aware of what is being taught there, what is being expected there, and so that you are interested in it and your skill set matches in it. That's what I'm trying to tell. Analytics is a good career to choose for. Okay. So I think from US, which country should I for business? I got a letter from Essex. So okay, Faraj. I'm not sure. My preference was Canada. My preference was Canada, I think, but I did not choose. There any budget-friendly university invest for business analytics which comes under 25 lakhs. See, Farhan, I think you can definitely find universities in US under 25 lakhs. Right, that is not a challenge, to be very frank. But what I mean by 25 lakhs budget is talking about, the tuition fee. Then you have living expenses, where part-time jobs is the way you can get out of it. But as of today, people are saying in general, the students, it will take 3 to 6 months for an average student to get a part-time job. Some people will get it right on day one, but an average people are taking it like 3 months, 6 months to really figure out in campus or outside the campus to sort their own living expense through a part-time job. But what I will also tell you is that if you have a decent profile, the probability of getting a good loan in USA is much higher than UK or Canada. But I'll give you an example. Credilla gives you, let's say, same financial profile of a student. If he's going to university in USA, is willing to give 45, 50 lakhs. For the same student, they'll give only 30 lakhs for Canada or UK. Why is that so? Because the probability of getting a job and repaying loan is higher. The incomes are higher in US, so they're willing to take that risk. So that itself is a sign of what the data is showing over a decade of performance of candidates going abroad. So if you have decent financial, you can also check with our loan finance team. They'll also clarify based on your profile. So you can get a loan, and doing in 25 lakhs of tuition fee in USA is very much achievable. But you have to say that another 20 lakhs will cost for 2 years of masters, which will be covered by your part-time job. But at least you should have 5-10 lakhs of extra liquidity to adjust, because in crunch of time, you should not be, finding it hard to survive there. That should not be a scenario that you should get in there, right? That's my only suggestion for people. Kedar, I think when you say choose career in management, I'll just end with these last two questions. And if you guys have more questions, I'll book the call with our experts to get. Otherwise, we'll keep doing sessions on different topics every week. So you can always come back and ask. What type of role can I expect if I choose a career in management? I would only tell you one. It all depends on what did you do in your masters in terms of management specialization. As I was telling earlier, you're focused on analytics in your management also, you get it. But if you are doing general management, right, like I'm just saying you did masters in management with no specialization, here probably people have more chance to get into, what do I call it, strategic management, or being in that operations role, doing day-to-day operations of a business. When I say operations, even if you're working in, let's say, a startup, you're still looking of day-to-day operations of a company. right? Be it in India, US, or UK, anywhere, it's the same role, right? Maybe you work with a manufacturing setup and work in supply chain operations, logistics. So these are some generic skill set where people look at people who have ability to think through, analyze the scenario, and solve a problem. When I say problem, not mathematical problem, a business scenario, right? How do I solve it? Right, and you have a good communication skill, and you have ability to really, talk, think through scenario and solve a problem. They'll give you an opportunity. But as I'm telling you, in a foreign nation, it's hard for people to get jobs with a very generic degree. That's my basic suggestion I give anyone. Understand what skill set suits you better, even if not today. If you join a course, look at the curriculum, look at the electives, and start picking up your skill set in a specific domain where, like as I'm telling you, analytics, project management, supply chain, logistics, so that you can actually highlight that skill set and start looking for job opportunities in that domain, rather than just being in your home country. You can still figure out, but in a foreign nation, it makes it even more challenging to really be a generalist in initial days of your career and try to build on it. For us, so in terms of universities, as I'm telling you, I cannot tell you without knowing the profile. But there are universities like University of Central Missouri, right? There are universities like all the California state universities are under 25 lakhs. The cost of living will be slightly higher, but there are quite a few universities I can easily tell you. Even if you go to our website and just find, just go and choose business analytics, there's a filter that you can apply, and you'll find quite a few universities which are offering under 25 lakhs. So sorry. Go website of Ubergrad, just select courses and say I want to do in United States my master's in analytics. You'll get all the top ranked universities to the bottom with the rankings, but here you can choose the tuition fee being, let's say, around 35K, which is less than, let's say, 30 lakhs. You'll start finding the programs where you can find universities which are costing you less than 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs. So you can obviously look at them and choose based on your profile and a lot of this. So you can keep going. You'll find quite a few universities which are, Central Arkansas is one. Arkansas State as such as low cost universities. Missouri as such as low cost universities, and you also get scholarships from them. So it all depends on your profile, to be frank, but you have quite a few opportunities to do under 25 lakhs. So that's not really a challenge for USA in terms of tuition fee, as I'm telling you, but you will also get a loan to also part-time jobs to sort your expenses also. Right.
So
Okay,
this
guys,
is
then
for 2 years or for a year?
so you go ask me a question.
I was saying this is for 2 years, right?
Yeah, this is for 2 years. What you see here would be the entire course. Some courses are also for 1 year, but whatever the entire duration would be, to complete the course, what is the tuition fees, what we are showing.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Yeah, good. Right. Okay, guys, then hope it was helpful for all of you. So maybe Smriti, you can just speak over and end the session. Guys, I think our moderator is. Okay. Yeah, Smriti, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Also, if anyone has any doubt related to the Ubergrad website or our courses or anything, you may ask now. Otherwise, I'll be ending the session. Thank you so much for attending. Okay, so guys, I'm ending the session. Thank you so much for attending.